Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Fri-Date podcast.
Kimberly, Seats of the Soul, Murga.
What is happening, right? Are you like having a seizure?
No, I'm doing a Joe Dispenza meditation, and he doesn't want you to get used to, you know, when somebody's like, okay, take a deep breath in, blow your air all the way out and relax. You become numb to that. So he goes, imagine the body.
Yeah, see, this doesn't work for me. There's like no way I could take that shit seriously. I can't do it.
But you can't forget. You will not forget me saying body in that way.
I know. Okay.
So
what are we talking about today?
I'd like to talk.
Okay, everybody just turned it off. This is now just me and you. Okay, no one's listening anymore.
Kimberly, you are reading a book. And the book that you're reading, you have reread one page for, I think, 4 months.
Yeah, it's intense.
And I see you taking one sentence, parsing it and thinking about it, and then going back and bookmarking it in Audible and writing about it and talking to me about it and then rereading the sentence. And it seems to be taking you a long time to read this book. Can you share the title of said book and what this is doing to my wife?
Yeah. So the seat of the soul is not
seed, as in SEED?
No, seat.
Seat.
Like you're sitting on it.
Okay.
Seat. The Seat of the Soul is a great book. I'm reading, it's a 20th anniversary edition.
So you're
right?
20 years late.
Yeah, I'm 20 years late to the party. It's really interesting, though. Oprah did the opening for the 20th anniversary edition. And she talked about how she, many, many years ago, found this book, read the book, and really wanted to talk to somebody about it because there were so many things that were just like aha moments for her. And she gave the book to everyone in her office, but no one really started reading it. So she called the author and she was like, hi, this is Oprah. And I was hoping I could talk to you about your book because I need someone to talk to. There's so many things in this that I need to talk about. And the guy was like, I'm sorry, who are you? And she's like, Oprah. He's like, now, how do you spell that? And she's like, she spells it. And she's like, I have a talk show. I was thinking I'd have you on and we can talk about the book. He's like, yeah, I don't watch TV. And he had like no idea. Meanwhile, I think he was on the show 10 million times. And I am reading this book now and I'm asking myself how her audience ever consumed this book and was able to figure it out. It is the most spiritually, if you're into spirituality and all of that kind of lane, this is your book. And it is going to, if you really think about it and you don't just consume it, but you really, really think about it and try to put this into action in any meaningful way, it's going to take you a minute.
All right. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I want to give you, because the listener
is not understanding what I'm saying.
Who has not read the book is a little too far from the forest for the trees right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through the eyes of me, who has not read the book, but with you sharing pieces of it and how that affected
let me say one thing. So yesterday I hit a part in the book that I thought would be really good for Rob. So I brought it into him and I hit play because I'm doing it on Audible. I hit play and he's like, okay, stop. And we talked about this one sentence that he said for like 15 minutes. And then he's like, okay, go. And I hit play. And we did that for, I don't know, an hour. And at the end of it, I said, we got through 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Like that's how packed this book is.
Yeah, this is a book that if you have an interest in reading a lot of books this year, don't get this one because you'll read only this book for the remainder of the year. Okay. So let me tell you what it was that struck me yesterday, and I want to share it with you and see if there's something in it that you can see yourself? And Kim, you can play commentary as we go through this because you have a lot more color. And you do have a lot more color because you've been on the deck yesterday and you're Greek and you get tan very, very quickly in humidity. So you pointed something out to me that was really, really interesting. And you said, look, there's a difference between the personality and the soul. And I said, I have a big personality, but I don't know the difference. Isn't my soul my personality? And you're like, no, this book gave me a distinction between the two. And I was like, well, how do you apply it? Give me an example. She said, okay, when you were in Italy, right, when we did 3 months in Italy before we were about to move to Los Angeles, there was some part of your soul that was alive here. You felt it. You felt connected. You
started writing.
You started writing.
And you had never done that before.
I had never written in my life. I'm writing about, the sunbeams coming off the terracotta roof tops of the majestic city of the jewel box sized Florence. These words were coming out of me that I was like, oh, I guess Italy is just inspiring me. And it was. But it was inspiring my soul. There was something in my soul that woke up. My personality was like, let's get to LA. I got dreams. I want to be on the beach. I want to have a convertible. I want to have a beautiful home. I want to hustle. I want a leg hump, and
be in the center of it all.
Be in the center of it all, right?
All right, let me jump in here because let me just give some basics on the personality versus the soul. So what he's saying in the book that I can understand. Okay, so I want you all to understand that my understanding of this book is really slow because it's complicated. But from what I gather, you begin as a soul, right? And his thesis on this is that your soul comes into this world and it has a purpose. It also has things that need to be healed from maybe previous karma, or it's like a school, right? He calls it Earth School. So your soul comes in with things that need to be healed. It has things that need to be learned. And there's also a purpose or a contract you have with the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And to heal those things, to live up to your purpose and to fulfill your contract, your soul creates a personality. And the personality is there to trigger all of those things to happen. So Rob has a really big personality, and his personality triggers a lot of the things that he needs to heal, right? Or that he needs to, or it's a part of the personality that he needs to be able to fill his purpose. And so all of his life, he was never really a writer. He, was going through life, and he had, I'm going to use you as an example in this because I think it's good. We've talked about it before, where you didn't feel enough growing up, right? You grew up in an abusive home, and it's like, how could you feel enough if, your dad is taking out whatever on you? And then you go and you have the girlfriend on the Upper East Side or, in whatever Forest Hills that has a ton of money, and you weren't enough for that family, right? And then you have this California dream because when you get to California, it's all going to be perfect. And so you've dealt with this not feeling enough over your lifetime. And what he says is that all of the experiences of your life are there to help you wake up and remember the contract that you have. And so every experience that you have in your life is moving you closer to healing what you need to heal, which for you, let's just use this one thing of feeling enough. You need to heal that, one. And two, you have a purpose. And so everything in your life is bringing you to that purpose. A lot of the things that we do are in service to the personality. So he talks about taking a horizontal path, which is one that satisfies the personality. It's where you're devoting your life to accumulation and that you're not serving your higher self. You're not even trying to align with your inner being, and you seek relationships to satisfy your own needs, versus the vertical path, which is the path of consciousness. You're cultivating awareness in your higher self. You're creating clarity around what you really want. And you have relationships with people that are not to serve your needs, but because it's in alignment with who you are. And the biggest part about this idea of personality and soul is that the soul is love, is represented by love. The personality is represented by fear. So your fear of not being enough is a personality trait, let's call it, right? So he says the degree to which you feel unhappiness, despair, depression is in direct proportion to how far you've strayed from your soul. And, we talked about yesterday how when you have your soul, let's say, is on one track and your personality is on the other track, the goal is to get them in alignment, because your personality it's there to trigger all these experiences to help you heal, but it's also there because there are parts of it you need to use to fulfill your purpose. And so when you were in California, and I just put an ER on the end of that, California, when you were in California, you were all personality, right? But then we got hit with COVID and going through all of that, and you began meditating more 2-3 times a day, getting really in line with your inner being. And so your personality and your soul were on separate tracks, began to come into alignment. That's what alignment is. And that's when you got the nudge to move back to Italy, because when your soul was here, you needed to be here. You need to, in my perspective of reading this book and looking at you need to be here, because here you've healed that I am not enough. You don't have that here. You have healed because you see now that you are fully enough. It's the needs of the personality that you had that made you not feel enough, but you are enough here. And you're not only enough here, you're seeing what truly is happiness here. And now you're being nudged to share it and to explain, when is it enough? How do you truly become happy? And you're nudged to write this book like it's a beast coming out of you, right? Like you couldn't even slow it down. And that's because you're in the alignment with your soul here.
So good. I want to repeat that because you did such a great job of that it's worthy of highlighting it. The degree to which I feel unhappiness, despair, depressed is in direct proportion to how far I've strayed from my soul. Off track equals out of alignment. When I think about that, and I couple that with the other thing that you said, which is love is from the soul and fear is from the personality. Those two, like that paragraph and those two words, there's something that resonates with me as so fucking true. And I guess the question then becomes, I think I understand what the mechanics are to get you there, which would probably be meditation, awareness of your personality. That piece, getting closer to the soul, actually doesn't feel that difficult in my understanding of it. I feel like I understand what needs to be done to get there. I guess the piece I'm trying to put together is, why are there so many blocks to get there? Are all of those blocks to heal parts of you to get I'm looking at this like Candyland. It's like you playing the game trying to get to the end, and the end is the soul. But you got all these these things that are happening to you along the way of getting to connect with the soul. Are all of those things in service to healing?
They're in service to healing. They're in service to your purpose. So you're writing this book about finding yourself, finding happiness, finding true joy in your life, right? And all the things that come along with it. You're writing it from your experiences of the opposite. You're writing it of feeling lack and not enough. Without those experiences, you could not be where you are now. You wouldn't have, it's kind of like when we say like how the 25-year-old life coach is such a stupid idea and so many levels, because there's not enough life that has been lived there. Like maybe if they're coaching 14-year-olds on how to get into college, that would work. But other than that, they don't have the experiences. And so they need the experiences to pull from to be able to give proper analysis and coaching. You need the experiences need to be able to heal it yourself and then to share it with others and to truly have walked the walk. And so, what I think is interesting is he also talks about no matter how successful the personality becomes, right? You can Wolf of Wall Street it. You can be the most successful person and go, 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 but it'll never be enough. And why won't it be enough? Because eventually you're going to hunger for the energy of your soul. There's something more. And if you're not in tuned, spiritually, if you're not in tuned with yourself, if you're not in tuned with your inner being, your higher self, your soul, whatever you want to call it, if you're not in tune with it, you're going to always feel like there's something missing. There's something more. There's something you should be doing. And that's the part that they don't often realize. And so what do? They keep chasing for more and more and more accumulation. And all of that is in the service of the personality. But you need the personality. Like if you came into this earth school, is his concept, right? You come into this earth school and you know what your purpose is, you know what you're here to heal, then it wouldn't work because you're in on the joke. If you come here though, and you have this personality that's big, and that big personality makes you feel at times inadequate or insecure, right? You're given this whole head of hair and it makes you feel inadequate or insecure. It's interesting because that's what triggers you to feel the fear, feel the depth. And so yesterday we're just started to get into this, talking about fear and what you're supposed to be doing. And a lot of the things, like this tactical things that you and I do, where when shit's not going our way and we keep hitting the brick wall, we now, instead of just trying to push through it and find another way, we pause and we say, what's trying to come through here? Are we not supposed to be doing this lane of business? Are we not supposed to be doing this trip? Are we not supposed to be? We have literally canceled trips because we feel like what's trying to come through is that this is not for us. And he talks about this too. He said, when you start to get in alignment, some people, or before you get into alignment, people will mistake their intuition for fear, or the other way around. They'll think, oh, my gut's telling me I shouldn't do this, but it's really fear talking. Like I had that when we went to South Africa. It kept me awake at night. We had this like fancy dinner we had to go to, and Sophia was with us, and I needed to hire a babysitter. And I was terrified of leaving Sophia with a babysitter in South Africa and driving an hour away to a dinner. There was just, I don't know why, I had a fear about it. And I kept mistaking my fear for intuition. And I was like, is my intuition telling me not to do this? And people do that often, right? And so he talks about that. And I think it's hard to decipher your intuition from your fear. And he says that answers that come through intuitive process are there to challenge what you're comfortable doing. Does that make sense? So when you're mistaking intuition for fear, you think it's your intuition, but it's really fear. He's saying the answers that are coming through an intuitive process are going to challenge what you're comfortable doing, but the answers that come from the personality are going to rationalize it. So when your soul is speaking, that's your intuition, right? It might challenge you, but it's your intuition talking. But when it's coming from the personality, you're rationalizing what you're doing.
So was when you were in fear with leaving Sophia with a babysitter, was that, it sounds like it was your soul that was talking,
No, that
right?
was my fear talk.
So that was your personality.
It was my personality
So it was
talk.
not
It was
wasn't
not
intuition.
my intuition. It was my person.
And how do you know the difference?
Well, now in hindsight, I spent my time rationalizing why this was a problem. So why I was fearful. I was like, well, I'm fearful because the crime rate and da-da-da-da, and I was rationalizing my fear.
But looking back now on a soul level, there really wasn't a problem.
There was no
with it.
problem. I was literally like, it was truly fear-based. And so now what he's starting to talk about, because I'm not through the whole book yet, I think I'm going to have to read this 5 times. And I'm not even exaggerating. I truly believe I'm going to read this 5 times. He talks about how fear pops up to give you an opportunity to exercise the fear. So when the fear pops up, asking yourself what's trying to come through here, how could I see this through the lens of love, which is interesting, right? So let's say you're stressed about money, and you and I have a saying that we've used for the last, 3 years, that we say everything is always working out for us. Doesn't mean it works out our way. It means it works out for our favor, right? And our better, whatever is supposed to be coming, it's going to be this or better. And so having that kind of faith over fear is what he's talking about. So all of the times you get that fear nudge, if you can try to have faith over fear, if you can, everything is always working out for me, what's trying to come through here, and you're listening truly to the intuition, that's how you get through the fear versus just panicking and trying to edify the needs of the personality.
It's really good.
As you can tell, it's a difficult concept.
Well, listen, this is enough to get you thinking. I mean, you see, this was 3 sentences of this book. So if you are inclined in this way, I would strongly recommend that.
We'll put it in the show notes.
I think you're really, really going to like it. We're putting together the final touches on our trip to Florence, and I got to tell you, it's going to be fucking unbelievable.
I know, I can't wait.
Like, Kim has, I'm the guy that plans a lot of these things. Like, I take the bull by the horns. I really have sat back and watched what this woman is capable of doing, and she, like, I don't even want to fuck with it. I feel like I'll fuck it up. She has put together something.
We got permission from the Vatican for something. How about that?
Literally the Vatican. So if you're thinking,
we're not going to the Vatican, but we had to get permission from the Vatican to do a certain thing.
If you want to come hang out with us in Florence, there's a link in the show notes to get information about it. We'd love to have you. Okay, that's it, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody, if you've ever thought about coming to hang out with Kim and I on one of our next Rob and Kim Italia events and you want to learn more, just click the Rob and Kim Italia link in the show notes and add your name and email, and we'll send you all the details as soon as they're available. We are obsessed with this country and how it affects you, and we want to share that magic of culture, food, wine, art, architecture, and some secret magic moments that we've cooked up with you. So be sure to add your name because these events sell out quickly.